You're tuned in to an all-new season of NAC Car Culture, your home of tough muscle cars, classic cruisers and high-performance imports. Proudly brought to you by NAC Insurance, specialists in modified and high-performance cars. Mount Shop, undercar specialists. And Tang Tools. Get organised. Coming up in this week's show, from bog to beauty, Alex McCaskill's race-ready Toyota SR Coupe. We hit many Dragways Test and Tune, and Aaron from Race Brakes serves up stopping know-how in this week's NAC Tech Tip. But before all that, it's time to head south for the Kaikoura Hop. The region has taken a hammering of late, but back a little earlier in spring, the only rumble was that of V8s on tar seal.
How would I explain it? Organised chaos. The original idea was to get a few cars here so I could look at them and didn't have to go away. And I thought one day, maybe we could get 100 cars here. The first year we had 176, and now look at it.
You love your cars, you're going to love an event like this. Everyone looks forward to coming to Kaikoura. It's a good event, it's well organised, so yeah, good variety of cars.
It doesn't matter whether you're a Ford fan, Chev fan, Holden fan, Mopar fan. It doesn't matter.
They're a hobby, they're a sport, they're a mode of transport, And today, I guess there was something there for everyone. Someone might like hot rods or might not, or muscle cars or vintage cars or whatever,
Car enthusiasts are people who are enthusiastic about cars, not specifically a hot rod or a muscle car or a classic car or a vintage car. Hey, it's good to see a cross-section of these rather than being stuck in one area, so yeah, it's good.
It's quite mind-blowing, sort of seeing what other cars are out there, and just the hours people must put into them, and and the money.
And despite the quality on show, it wasn't all about sitting pretty, with many clocking up plenty of miles just getting there. But the cruising didn't stop when the hop kicked off.
You build cars to drive them. There's guys out there that keep their cars in the garages and don't drive them to events like this, but they're there to be driven.
Waste time sitting in the shed, get the wheels turning.
If you've got a car, what's the point in having it in the shed? Get out and drive it. So yeah, it's a good way of getting cars from Auckland to Invercargill and every point in between. And so yeah, we've some of our cruisers, obviously Picton and returns around 185 kilometre cruise here. The cruise over to Waiau is around 120 to 130k return. Yeah, they better like driving their damn cars.
If you're dedicated, the Kaikoura Hop spans 4 days all up, although Saturday was the best chance to catch the cars sitting still. With a full day show under a beautiful blue sky at the new racecourse venue, the organisers must like a challenge. A top 10 was picked from the 1,000 entered, and one of those was Ben's slick Torino.
Yeah, it's a 1971 GT Ford Torino. So I've had it for probably about 18 months now. Bought it off a guy who lived in Hastings. I've always liked that sort of old school muscle car look. Yeah, he sort of popped the garage door up, and as soon as I seen it, fell in love with it basically. So it's got a 351 Cleveland, it's been stroked, so it's got a few bells and whistles in it. Colour-wise, it's got a mixture of colours. It's got some, candy apple through it, a copper flake, and a few other bits and pieces. I quite often get approached, asked, what's the colour, but it's sort of a bit of a secret.
Daring to be different and picking up plenty of praise for it was Mark and Ginny's Delta 88 Olds.
Yeah, just something different that was sort of not run-of-the-mill, and I'm been very surprised with the amount of attention that it's received. It's blowing me away. To me, it's nothing special. It's just a nice classic car that does the job. At home, I got the original title with it, the original manual that come with the car, the little booklets, and found out where it was built, what plant it was at, and it's been in the country since 2012, but unfortunately I haven't owned it that long. I've only had it probably 6 months. 425 big block, the 18-inch alloys. I've still got all the original wheels and hubcaps for it. Me and my partner, we both like to have a bit of fun with it sometimes and just put the foot down a bit further and just, it's a V8, it's meant to be heard, meant to be driven, so you've got to drive it like it sounds.
Not all of the driving was about getting somewhere fast. The late inclusion of a burnout pad proved a popular move. Things were a bit tight on the pad, but with a little more concrete poured, the skids will be sure to make another appearance in 2017. Meanwhile, back at the main show, we found a guy with the same name as his car. Handy.
I am a Holden nut. There are a lot of Fords out there which I do like, especially if you like the old school, like XYs, but I have to drive a Holden. I can't physically drive a Ford. It's a 1987 replica Wilkinshaw, running a 304, mildly worked. It's also got a bolt-on Powerdyne supercharger and pulling about 500 horsepower at the moment.
And if Carl's VL looks a bit familiar, then that's because it graced the pages of NZV8 with its previous owner back in 2008. It certainly got Carl's attention, and it popped up for sale just in time to save him a heap of work.
I said to my wife, I'm building one, I want that colour, I need to find the colour. Couldn't find the colour, and then I seen it on Trade Me, and I'm like, is that the same car? And yep, went up, brought it back here and fixed it up, and they have it ever since and never get rid of it. I love the old school stuff, I love the chrome bumpers, but plastic, everyone hates them, all loves them.
Another top tenner was Mark's handcrafted cab over, back on New Zealand soil after a year's holiday in the States.
We took it to the US last year. Well, in fact, 51 weeks ago we sent it away. Entered into a few Good Guys shows. So we went to Good Guys shows in Pleasanton, a couple of car shows in Los Angeles, a Good Guys show in Scottsdale, Arizona.
And lucky for Mark, it's a truck because it came home with plenty of silverware as carry-on.
It's very humbling, actually, you know, to have actually made something from nothing and take it over there to the home of hot rodding as such, and be recognised, and you know, we got some pretty neat trophies. We made a lot of neat friends out of it, and we had a really good time, you know, and I'd highly recommend it. You know, just, you're not someone going to a car show having a look, and you're actually a participant, you know, and it just changes things, eh? The body is 100% hand-built, fuel-injected 302 Ford and Ford 4-speed transmission, Corvette diff in it. I made the body first and then worried about how I was going to fit the engine secondary, you know. That was minor. But everything's come together really well, you know. You know, as much stuff as I could find that would fit and do it, I used. Yeah, just thinking outside of the square, really, just having your mind open and looking at things from a different angle, and yeah, that'll work. Pretty much how it happened, really, eh?
We'll have more of Big Shed Customs handiwork next week when we take you for a tour through their Blenheim workshop. And although the quakes have left Kaikoura's coastline very much worse for wear since this year's show, 2017 will no doubt see the hop continue to grow into its new, bigger and better venue. We'll be looking forward to it. Still to come on NAC Car Culture, Alex's Circuit Duty SR20 SR Coupe and Test and Tune from Many Many Dragway. You're back with NAC Car Culture, kindly brought to you by the good people at NAC Insurance, Teng Tools and Mount Shop. We've got Alex's Nissan-powered KE35 coming up very shortly, but first, we stop in at Auckland's Race Breaks for this week's NAC Tech Tip.
Going out on a track day is all about going out and having fun. There's nothing worse than sitting on the sidelines watching everyone else go round because your standard road-going brakes have overheated and you now have no brake pedal. The cheapest, simplest way of improving your brakes is to put a race-going, road-friendly set of brake pads in, a race-capable brake fluid in, and then you can go out and have fun for the day. If you feel like you want to go to the next step, that's when you start looking at your disc rotors. If you take your wheel off on your standard car, this is the type of rotor that you'll see behind. Plain, flat, no grooves, just a generic OE type rotor. For a road car that's going to see a bit of track use, this is a very nice little package. This is a DBA T3 heat-treated club spec rotor, the Mintex Racing, which is a road-friendly race compound, and some racing brake fluid. This will give you a consistent feel out on the track and eliminate that sponginess that you would expect with a road-going pad trying to race on the racetrack. Obviously, braking is a very crucial part of any car. So if you need advice, feel free to give us a call and we'll see how we can help you.
Thanks, Aaron. Okay, time now to get up close and personal with this week's Mount Shop feature car. Alex McCaskill's Toyota Corolla SR Coupe, a car he traded his way into one fateful evening.
A mate's 21st. There may have been a few beers involved, and I had a K70, which I'd recently done a quick paint job and wheels and tidied up a little bit, and another mate had this sitting in the shed. We'd got talking and I said that I was interested in taking it off his hands, and next morning I think the deal was done and we did a straight swap, and this turned up in my shed, pretty much nothing in it, all the parts and boxes, bare shell, and some sort of primer and bog.
And a lot of bog at that. The coupe's previous bodyman was better described as a sculptor. But fortunately, the timing wasn't the worst. Alex was entering into an apprenticeship, and putting the Corolla right proved to be a great learning opportunity.
The reason it drew me to it is with a high-rise K30 and K35 bonnet, there's meant to be a swage line running down the middle of it. And there was no swage line in my bonnet, and I was like, oh, that's odd. Had a little look and drilled it, and then we banged it, and yeah, it would have taken someone so long just to sand all the layers off. It was just ridiculous, yeah. If I hadn't had that set of skills or the tools behind me or the people to help me and show me and guide me along the way, it would have been a massive, daunting task. Other than that, no, it was just a lot of hard work and a lot of good mates involved and long nights and long days. A lot of the car was built on labour swaps. Money's a hard thing to come by these days, but your time and thing can sort of swap around and see what, you know, a couple of young apprentices can do in a shed, and they can build cars that are pretty damn cool.
Toyota's 4K is long gone. Pop the SR's bonnet and you'll find a Garrett T28 Snail strapped to the side of a Nissan SR20, backed up by a DET spec 5-speed and Hilux diff.
My little brother at the time had a S14. He had just purchased a SR20 for it, and he had the SR20 DE sitting there. And I gave him a hand to change the motor and stuff over, and he said, oh, you can have that. So it was initially the point where I just had the motor there, and it was like, oh, we're going to do it, and it went from being, we're going to keep it DE to we're going to plus T it, and now it's fully rebuilt plus T. There's a lot of Nissan in the car actually, even down to the steering column. It's got S14 calipers set up in the rear onto the Hilux diff, and then it's also got S13 front legs with 4-pot Nissan GDR brakes.
And just in case the car's track-inspired styling doesn't do the job, the cage is a dead giveaway as to where Alex's true priorities sit.
I started going and pit crewing for good friends of mine who race in the South Island Endurance Series. I've always been into motorsport. It was sort of a little bit in the family as well. Absolutely loved the hype around it, and I was already building the car at the time, and we were sort of building as a bit of a fun car to go over skid, and then I started going along to these and also local hill climbs and events with mates with their cars, and I was just like, nah, I want to get into this and I want to do this myself. So as soon as it's all set up and I've got it ready for the track, it'll be there as much as I possibly can and being used and driven hard. That's the plan. It's not going to sit in the shed. It's not going to sit as a showpiece. It's going to be a race car, and that's what I built it for.
But future beatings round the circuit weren't going to excuse the KE35's panels from copping a quality finish. Alex's new business, ADM Refinishing, will no doubt be called into play as running repairs are required, which may happen sooner rather than later if his friends, lovely friends, have anything to do with it.
Every time someone looks at it, they go, you're going to race that? And I've also got mates having wagers on what doors they're going to rub up against first, so very good mates that wanting to actually damage it, so we'll see how it goes. Well, coming from a kid that religiously brought Performance Car magazine and went to Fours and Rotaries every year and did all those things and looked at all those cars and idolised them, and now being the guy where you've got these young kids and people coming up and going, oh, this is awesome, or I think the biggest thing is young kids, if you're driving down the road and they're like, Mum, Mum, like pointing at the car and stuff, that every time like always gives me a mega buzz.
Want to see more cars in action like this? Jump onto themotorhood.com now and sign up for our totally free digital magazine. It's packed with the best bits from New Zealand Performance Car, NZV8 and New Zealand Classic Car magazines. Simply enter your email address and you'll get it direct to your inbox. Easy. Don't go anywhere yet. Thanks to our mates at Teng Tools, it's time to head for Merry Dragway's Test and Tune. The name Test and Tune sums everything up pretty nicely. The day is all about dialing in car and bike setups on a prepped surface before summer's drag racing season kicks off. It's also a chance for some seat time. Drivers can get reacquainted with the ride without the pressures of competition, qualifying or knockout racing. Although they might take a break from the strip, winter is hardly a holiday for most serious racers, with many taking the time to make major modifications in the off-season or prep a brand new car, such as Brendan and his Nissan GTR. The end goal is pretty serious here, a sub 9-second street legal car.
A lot of people think I'm mad and nuts and whatever, they gave them all the name under the sun. I think you can't do both, you know, you can't have a drag car, a street car, and, you know, and I said, oh, watch me, I'll do it. So I'm just out here first time testing it. You know, everything is basically handing me down, so I'm kind of lucky and I'm using it on the street. This thing is just horrible, you know. You can hear the gears whining down the road, everybody can hear you coming. People saw the little school pack in the back and they're like, what the hell are you up to, you know? So yeah, it's quite interesting. You get the looks, you know. I haven't got pulled over yet, so touch wood on that one.
The Skyline's wider support crew reads like a who's who of going fast in New Zealand. These hand-me-downs came courtesy of the McGregor family. Yes, as in the previous world record-holding 7-second GTR McGregor family. And includes a heap of HKS internals, as well as the GT47 turbo and manifolds for the E85 Fed RB, which now displaces just shy of 2.7 litres. Add names such as Marsh Motorsport, Terry's Chassis Shop and BD Motorsport to the list of those who have had a hand in the car, and the ultimate goal suddenly sounds a lot more achievable.
At the moment, we tuned it for 37.8. We made about 1,200 horse, but we weren't able to use all that today. Today, probably a mild tune, 25 pound, probably about 600-700 horse maybe, just a test run to see how the car is and you have a feel of it. I want to drive, you know, with my mate on a Sunday cruise, and if I want to go drag racing, I just put the slick on like what we did, pop the race wing on, and we're off. And ultimate goal, 7.9. I know it's a big push, but, you know, other people have done it in Australia. I think they've done 7.8, 7.9 street car. So I'm just persistent and adamant that, you know, I can have a bit of fun, you know, and flick of a switch, I can go racing, I can drive it on the street. And that's the ultimate goal, really. Multi-purpose car.
This is a testing day, and unfortunately a few teething issues engaging four-wheel drive ended Brendan's outing early. But this car will certainly be one to look out for on a strip or street near you. Also at the Test and Tune was Dick Richardson, getting to grips with an all-new transmission setup.
It's a Mitsubishi Evo 1. We've been running it for about 5 years. We've gone from a manual transmission to an automatic transmission. The reason being that with the manual, well, we kept breaking axles and parts, and it just became a nightmare. So we decided to switch to the autos because the guys in the US are running 7s on automatic transmission, so we thought we'd give it a go. The engine is still a 2-litre. We haven't gone for a stroker. 2 litres rev a lot harder, less issues. I'm not a fan of strokers. They're too lazy. But we've gone with a nice intercooler with nitrous to get us off the line, and yeah, it runs 9.3s. We're hoping to get into the 8s this season, and there shouldn't be any reason why we can't do that.
Another to hit the strip with big changes was the Gubbs racing team. But they didn't stop with the trans. This is an all-new beast and marks a switch to forced induction.
We've been working on this thing for probably 2 years. We took last season off. We couldn't quite get it built in the one season. Yeah, huge amount of time there. We're just a 500 cubic inch big block and with a twin turbo running on alcohol. So yeah, we really don't know what it's going to do. The bit of testing we've done is promising, but we're learning it right from the start. So we've had a bit of experience in a naturally aspirated dragster for 2-3 seasons. We ran that. We've just got to learn how boost reacts to it. We've obviously got to get down on track. We'll have potentially tyre shake problems, which we'll need to overcome. So yeah, all we're doing is testing, a lot of testing. We like the engineering of it, creating something and trying to make it do what we ask it to.
The Test and Tune Day proved a great first outing for the Gubs racing team, posting a 6.47 second pass at a little over 212 miles per hour on only its second run. There's little doubt that there's a whole lot more to come from the setup too, so we'll be looking forward to watching the numbers tumble over this season at the Strip. For your chance to win a Teng Tools Top Toolbox worth $359, simply head over to themotorhood.com. We'll be giving away one every week for 10 weeks. As an extra bonus, you will also receive a 7-piece screwdriver set to help you on your way to build your own toolkit. Get organised with Teng Tools. That's us for this episode of NAC Car Culture. Thanks for tuning in. Coming up next week, we check out Luke Orpwood's Grim, a blacked out and bagged Chev Impala sporting a numbers matching 348. We drop in at Big Shed Customs in Blenheim, the team handcrafting hot rods. And Rangiora's Canny Customs puts on a spring show. See you then. NAC Car Culture was proudly brought to you by NAC Insurance, specialists in modified and high performance cars, Mount Shop, undercar specialists, and Teng Tools. Get organised.